All right, excuse me. Get this last earbud in. In the meantime, let me go through my propers. Yo, 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 what is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR. Carl, you said, sup, Lincoln, just tried Firewall on my VR, confusing. Plus, didn't know if my mic was on. Uh, well, I think when you put on your once you turn on your PlayStation VR headset, um, I think that becomes the default microphone, unless you I think unless you specifically go into the settings and and change it. So, but actually, that may not necessarily have been a bad thing that your mic wasn't working. If you think it wasn't working, that may not necessarily have been a bad thing. Hold on a second. Okay, when it comes to first-person shooters, VR first-person shooters, I still say that Firewall and Pavlov are probably my two favorite games. But there's a little bit of BS in from both of those games. In the case of yeah, it should be on then. It should be on. Now the bull crap that I speak of in the case of Firewall, I think you got people who take the game too serious, and they start whining when they lose, and they'll leave. And if they happen to be the host, it'll shut the entire room down, and then you'll have to go find another room. So I think for the most part, the Firewall community is positive as across VR. Most of the communities are positive with a lot of these multiplayer VR games. But you do run across a couple of crybabies every now and then. Pug, what's going on? How you doing? In the case of Pavlov, I think the biggest thing you're dealing with over there is team killing. Because I think, I don't know, I want to say like 6 months ago, they added blood and gore to Pavlov. Because I don't think the blood and gore was there when the game first came out. But now that they added blood and gore, they've almost like, a person can get their head shot clean off. And, the helmet will go flying off and the head will explode. And since they put that update out, you got a lot of people that's team killing. A lot of silly stuff going on. It makes for a good comedy video like there's a YouTuber who goes by the name of Josh Dubs. He has over 1 million subs. I could not believe it. And basically what his channel is about is he uses games like Pavlov, Contractors, maybe a little bit of VR chat, and he makes comedy videos out of those. And so the antics that you see on some of the antics that you would see on Pavlov would be okay for the type of videos that he likes to make. But yeah, with Pavlov, every now and then you'll run across a couple of idiots that like to team kill. So, but for the most part, both of the games are fun, and there's more positive than negative to both of those games. But speaking of which, hold on a second. Okay, grab my Quest and my gun stock. What's up, Vids? What's going on? How are you today? V-Tits, sorry. But yeah, I wanted to take a quick minute to um, show my gun stock that I got from GoQuest VR. This is it right here. Got a handle right there, and basically you hold it like this. So the way this works is, so I got my controllers. So I'll show you how, how you would do with, and I got my Quest controllers tangled up. So when you're playing games like Pavlov or Onward or Contractors, you would hold it like this. You'd hold the gun in this imaginary position like this, and it's okay for most guns like the automatic rifles. It doesn't really make much difference because when you shoot, the recoil makes the gun come up in the air like this. But for the sniper rifles, that's hard. The sniper rifles with the scopes, because since you're trying to do it like this, it is super, super hard to hold that gun steady. That's where this comes in. So let me put these in here. So you put your controllers in these cups like this. And then you hold it like that. And then when you got it like that, then you can steady the sniper rifles at your enemies. So then what happens is after you take the shot, you take this controller out of the cup, and then you go through your motions where you're dropping out the clips, and you pop the clips back in, and then you turn and like pull the slide on it or whatever, and then you put the controller back in the cup, and then you hold the grip button. Oops, I got these controllers backwards. The grip button right there. And then was this expensive? No, this was only 38 bucks. And it came from a site called GoQuest VR. The stream I did yesterday, I put the link in the description. Yeah, it sounds complicated, Carl, but this is definitely like, for me, it might not make much difference, but for my son, I think it's going to be a huge help for him, because my son is pretty good at Pavlov, and his only complaint has been that when he goes to use the sniper rifle, that he can't steady it. Because he's all over the place trying to steady it. This right here allows him to steady it. And you got the gun stock right there, right up against your shoulder. So right there, and then when you're in virtual reality, your scope is right there. So like, yes, it is a little bit awkward, I'll admit that. But man, when you got a sniper rifle and you got this gun stock, I put that scope right on somebody's head and blew it clean off. Only got about 2 kills, but at least I got that headshot. So this was only 38 bucks, and then and I bought a link cable from them, which a little while ago, which that kind of takes us he'll be a crack shot. Hey, I think my son I think he's gonna like this, because I said my son, he's a beast. He's a beast at Pavlov, and this is the one thing that he was complaining about. He had kind of poked at me a couple of times about getting a Pro Tube, but those Pro Tubes are super expensive, because this part right here, where this part of it is, looks like it's a rumble pack attached to it, so you get that rumble, like that haptic feedback or whatever. So, but yeah, it just looks like a piece of tube right here. But when you got the VR headset on, you got the gun right in front of you. So So it's cool. And then here's my Oculus Quest. Jamal Adams, what is good? So I guess that'll go ahead and take us into our first topic. Yesterday, I talked about the link cable that I bought for the Oculus Quest to be able to hook it up to my PC and play my PC VR games through the Oculus Quest link. And that cable was $28, and the cable is 16 feet long. And the one good thing I will say about Oculus and these transfer cables is that they're not forcing you to have to buy theirs. They're letting you use just about any USB-C transfer cable. Now, once the link beta went live, those cables were selling out everywhere. You could not find them on Amazon for shit. And the only thing that really seemed to be available was 3 feet cables. It was still costing $10, which was crazy. So Gamertag VR, he uploaded a video because I think GoQuest VR sent him a Halo head strap, for his Quest, and he said he liked it. It was really comfortable, and he put a link to GoQuest VR in the description. So I went to the site with the intentions of buying a link cable, and then I saw that gun stock there, so I bought them both. It was international shipping, so my order came up to a total of $86. So I tried a link cable yesterday. I just tried it on a couple of games, and I was surprised by how good it looked. It actually looked pretty good. The picture looked pretty good, and being that the Quest has an OLED panel, the blacks were a little bit deeper. It's just with the Rift S, the picture was a little bit sharper, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, because Gamertag VR, he uploaded another video where I guess you can go into the settings. It's a little bit of a workaround, but I guess you can go into the settings and turn the resolution up, on the Quest, so you can get an even sharper picture than what you were getting. So let me see, Carl. So what VR have you got? No PS Quest or anything? Yeah, I've got the Oculus Rift S, I got the PlayStation VR, and I've got the Oculus Quest. So I got 3 headsets. I think that's all I need, because the Valve Index, it's just not in me to drop $1,000 for that headset. Not right now. That's not to say that I don't want to. So my biggest thing about buying something like a Valve Index was, one, is I was hearing about the glare. I heard the glare is pretty bad on there, but I heard it's got an amazing picture. I heard the audio is pretty good on there, and the mic is pretty good on there. But my biggest reason, what do I think is best out of those 3 headsets? PSVR, Quest, and Rift S. That's a question that you can ask over and over again, and you're never going to get a straight answer, because a lot of it depends on your situation. It depends on how much money you want to spend. It depends on whether you already have a PlayStation. It depends on if you already have a gaming PC. It depends on if you have nothing and you're just starting out from nothing. You say, I got nothing. This is how much money I have to spend. What do you think I should get? So if you had $1,500, I would probably recommend getting a gaming PC, and then it would come down between getting the Quest or getting the Rift S, because both of them have their advantages. With the Rift S, you'll get a sharper picture, a sharper native picture with the Rift S, but the Quest will give you a picture that's damn near close to the Rift S. But then when you unplug it, it's a standalone headset that you can still take with you everywhere. So because of the link cable, basically the Oculus Quest is like having two headsets. You know, you got your PC VR headset when it's plugged into a PC, and then when you unplug it, it's back to being a Quest, it's back to being a standalone. So I've called, because of that link cable, it has made the Oculus Quest the Nintendo Switch of VR. So, he said PC gotta wait. Yeah, I just got, yeah, I get you. I just bought an iPhone 11 Pro Max. I need to get a good PC. Shit. You see what I... Look, this is the phone that I got right here. This shit right here. It is an LG Stylo 5, which I paid $179 for. In this phone, I probably don't even use 5% of its features, because I'm not into phones like that. All I needed to do was make a phone call, send and receive text messages, and if I'm happen to sit down somewhere and I want to read, the internet, to be able to pull up articles and read, because, in my spare time when I'm just sitting around, I'll pull my phone out and just read articles. And right there, VTiz just said it right there. With the money you spent on that iPhone, you could have bought one hell of a computer. You could have bought a good PC. You could have bought the Rift S, and you would have been all set. Or hell, you could have, or for the money that you spent on that iPhone, you could have bought a PlayStation VR and an Oculus Quest, because the PlayStation VR, this bundle right here with the Move controllers, is $350, and the Quest, the 64 gig Quest, is $400. So you talking about $750 for two headsets. Because if you're a serious gamer, Carl, I'd like to think that it's a given that you probably got a PlayStation. You said, I know, but I got hacked on my phone, and they said the iPhone can't be hacked. Oh, you said you got PSVR and the Quest? Well, shit, you good. I mean, between those two, you'll still have plenty to do. And the freedom of the Quest, yeah, when the Quest first came out, yeah, I was a little bit fussy about the downgrading graphics, but I eventually got used to it, and loved the Quest, the freedom of the Quest. You said you got an LG Stylo 4. That's what I had, Pug, but my Stylo 4 took a dump, so I went and bought a Stylo 5. I just don't see the need to drop that kind of dough on a phone, but who am I to speak? Because all the video game hardware that I have, between my computer, my son's computer, the headsets that I bought, fuck, I just thought about something. I bought a total of 4 PSVR headsets. The first one I bought, I sent that to Craig Harris. The second one that I bought just took a dump about 2 weeks ago. Right at that time, I bought another PSVR headset and sent that to the Titanfall Princess, and then I just replaced the one that took a dump. So that's 4 PlayStation VR headsets. I bought an Oculus Rift CV1, and I've bought 2 Oculus Rift S, one for myself, one for my son. I bought an Oculus Quest. I bought an Alienware PC that retailed at $2,000 when I first bought it. I bought my son a PC that retailed for $850, but I caught it on sale for $700. So I've just, between the VR headsets and the PCs and shit like that, I easily spent, in my opinion, like close to in my opinion, around $4,000-$5,000, and then not to mention how much money I've spent on games for both me and my son. And you know, and then this Alienware PC that I'm on, this is my third PC, because the first two PCs took a crap. You said not much on Quest. I want a rowing machine app, so when I'm on the rowing machine, I can see a lake. Hey, you never know. They might do like that Olympic rowing. You never know. Somebody might come out with a game like that. VTids, I just got sent a special link from Oculus for a refurbished CV1 for E249. Because my third CV1 is dying. That's a tough one because E249, I assume that's euros, you know, 249 euros, which I think in American dollars is probably a few dollars more. Because I think in American dollars, E49, I think probably comes up to like $275 or something like that. The Rift S is $400. I would probably say, VTids, if you get an Oculus Rift S, you won't go back to that CV1. I admit that the CV1 has better colors and has deeper blacks because of that OLED panel, but there's a little bit of blur around the outer edge of the CV1. There's a slight blur, but the Rift S is crystal clear. The trade-off with the Rift S is, with it being an LCD panel, the blacks aren't as deep. He said, what is your opinion and experience of the CV1 or the Rift S? Yes, yep, I was right in the middle of saying that, right when you were typing that. So you get a Rift S, you might not go back to that CV1. You know, not only that, with the Rift S, you're only taking up 2 ports on your PC. One, a display port, and a USB 3 port. Whereas with the CV1, you're taking up at least 4 ports. You're taking up an HDMI port. You're taking up three. You're taking up 3 USB 3 ports, because you got the 2 external sensors, and in my case, I bought a third sensor. He said, I don't know, man. I love the tech. CV1. If I got a Rift S, I'd have to mod the audio, but not a huge deal. I don't trust inside-out tracking though. Believe me, VTids, I was definitely apprehensive about the inside-out tracking, and it got out to a bad start when the Rift S first came out, and maybe even the Quest a little bit. There was some issues with the inside-out tracking. In fact, with the Rift S, right here, because the cameras are on the corners, when you go to play first-person shooter games and you pull your hand up like that, the camera could not see this hand right here. So the camera was like swiveling all over the place. Somehow Oculus sent a miraculous update through, and now it works fine. Same thing with the Rift S. The inside-out tracking was suspect, but Oculus ran an update through there, and to me, Oculus is, even though the Rift S and the Quest are the only headsets that I've tried, but based on, with inside-out tracking, but based on the videos that I've been seeing and shit like that, I'm led to believe that Oculus are the only ones who got this inside-out tracking done, got it right. So yeah, I was definitely apprehensive about the inside-out tracking in the beginning, but hell, that it works good. So, Code Yogurt, what's up? You said, Pug, you said Lincoln Clay went, yeah, I see what you're saying on VR. Be glad it wasn't a holodeck. Shit. No. So I did a stream a little while ago trying to do The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners through the Oculus Quest link. Now, I will say this: when the Oculus, God damn it, let me shut this phone off. Sorry about that, folks. I think I made a couple of tweets today that got a little bit of traction. Okay, so yeah, I was playing Saints and Sinners, because I was testing the link cable. Now, I will say in the beginning, when I first started seeing people doing these streams with the link cable with the Quest, when I was watching, these streams or watching their uploaded videos, their streams gave me the impression that it was like looking through a fishbowl. So that made me a little bit apprehensive of the link cable because I thought it was like looking through a fishbowl. But after trying out the link cable and then going back to watch the stream that I did a little while ago, because the stream got disconnected because I think there was just too many things going on and my PC couldn't handle it, because I had 4 apps open. I had the Oculus app open because you have to have it open in order to use the Oculus headset. I had the Steam app open because I bought Saints and Sinners on Steam. So that's 2 apps open right there. I had the OBS Streamlabs app open because I'm trying to stream it. And then I had the Microsoft Edge browser open because I finally figured out how to pop the chat out and hang it up in the air so I can see it. So now whenever I do streams from my PC, I'll be able to see the chat now. So I have 4 apps open at once, and I just don't think my PC could handle all that stuff. So so when the stream went into the loading phase of Saints and Sinners, it disconnected. So here I am playing this game for about 20 minutes, but only got, about 5 minutes worth of footage. But when I went back and looked at it, I was at the menu screen, and when I'm looking around and stuff like that, the stream looked like it was through a fishbowl. So I get where. So now I understand why I was a little bit apprehensive in the beginning about the link cable, because that's what I thought people saw on the inside when they put the headset on. I thought everything looked like a fishbowl, but it doesn't. It's VR. No stretch screens, no fishbowl or nothing like that. It's straight VR. And Saints and Sinners look pretty damn good. So much to the point where it, in the default settings, I said this yesterday, the Rift S is still a little bit sharper, but Quest Link comes pretty damn close. So because of that, I go out on a limb and say that I can't remember my dates of when the Quest and when the Rift S launched, but I will say this. If the if the Quest would have launched first and it would have launched with that link cable, then the Rift S might have been DOA. It might have been dead on arrival. Because of how good the Quest Link looked with the link cable, there wouldn't have it would have almost been no reason to buy a Rift S. And not only that, it ran smooth because the Quest has a refresh rate of 72 hertz, but I come to find out that it's actually capable of doing 90 hertz. But Oculus set it at 72 because I guess it would have absolutely killed the battery if they would have set it at 90 hertz. Because as it stands, you only got about 2 hours of battery life. So the game ran incredibly smooth. Saints and Sinners ran pretty damn smooth. Let me come back to a couple of these. You said I died off going to Twitter a lot. Only I go every now and then. Yeah, I feel you. Cold Yogurt, you're telling Carl to get catch and release on PSVR, row a boat and fish. Oh, okay. Let me see. And Cold Yogurt, you're saying Saints and Sinners has been a bestseller, most played on Steam. Yeah. And I think because of that, that'll actually get ready to take me into my next subject, and that is Boneworks. Boneworks is listed at the Oculus store for $30, which absolutely shocked me because the game launched on Steam for $40. Now it was a bestseller when it first came out, but I think because you could make a case that Boneworks was probably the most talked about VR game before Saints and Sinners came out. But when Saints and Sinners came out, it was a wrap for Boneworks because Saints and Sinners basically had the physics of Boneworks, pretty good graphics, and got a story behind it. Whereas Boneworks to me didn't really seem to have a story behind it. It just seemed to be like a physics simulator where you just walk in a different room and just monkey with this and monkey with that just to see how much you can interact with the game. So anyway, where I'm going with Boneworks being at the Oculus store, see the way they advertised Boneworks when it was coming out, I was under the impression that Boneworks was going to be a Steam exclusive. Whereas that was the only platform you'd be able to buy it from. So, but I've had several podcasts talking about this before, that I think there's a lot of games on PC VR right now that are not on the current PlayStation VR because of the hardware limitations of the PS4 and even the PS4 Pro. And games like I think games like Boneworks, games like Asgard's Wrath, well, that's an exclusive. That's an Oculus exclusive. So let me back up on that. Boneworks, well, Saints and Sinners is coming to PSVR. I think Polish Paul speculated that that it might be coming next month. I don't know when it's going to come. So you said, yeah, I agree. The story of Boneworks, I had to refund it, unfortunately, because it kept crashing. But it definitely was a tech demo for the physics, albeit impressive in parts. And you said I wasn't that into it. Same thing, like I wasn't impressed. I was not impressed with Boneworks or Saints and Sinners for that matter. But I bought Boneworks because everybody kept talking about the physics, about how interactive the game was and how a lot of the stuff in the game had weight. Like a baseball bat or something had weight. You couldn't just swing it. When you stop, it was gonna, when you stop, you can't just stop like that. A real baseball bat, you go to swing and then you try to put on the brakes, it's still gonna travel a few inches before you can stop it. So the physics of Boneworks it kept me curious, because it's like every time I walk into a room and look around, I'm like, okay, I see a bat on this table, I see a ball over here, I see a bucket, I see lockers, and I'm just walking around the room to see just how much of that stuff I can interact with. So that's what kept me curious about Boneworks, was the physics and how interactive the game was. So when Saints and Sinners came along, to me it took elements. Saints and Sinners took elements from a lot of several VR games and rolled it all into one and came up with a pretty good game. The blood and gore, I was not impressed with the blood and gore because there's blood and gore in several games. Arizona Sunshine has blood and gore. Now Pavlov has blood and gore. Blade and Sorcery, was the first game that I ever played where you could, chop off an opponent's arm, hack his leg off, decapitate him. So I think, that was kind of graphic, kind of bloody. I think, if you throw a grenade at someone or some kind of explosive at a zombie on Saints and Sinner and the body goes flying, that's nothing new to me either, because I think as far as VR game goes, Firewall was the first game that I saw that had some kind of ragdoll physics in it, where a grenade goes off and the body goes flying. So when I seen a little bit of that in Saints and Sinners, I was like, okay, there's an element of Firewall in it. And then when I seen the physics, and it's like, okay, you can grab an axe and you go to swing it, and you can't just stop it. It's gonna travel a couple of more inches before you can stop it. When you go to stab a zombie in the head, you can't just poke him in the head. You got to stick it and drive it in there. And then when you go to pull it out, you can't just rip it out. It'll stop, and then you got to, finish pulling it out. So, to me, Saints and Sinners, it was not impressive in terms of all the stuff that they said you could do with the games, because it had the physics of Boneworks, it had the blood and gore of Blade and Sorcery, and to me it had the ragdoll physics of Firewall. So it had the elements of all of those games combined, with pretty good graphics and a story. So was I impressed with the game? No, but I think it's a good game? Absolutely. So let me see here. Carl, you said my favorites are Farpoint and Blood and Truth. Absolutely. So yeah, Saints and Sinners is a pretty good game. Anyway, so I went way off the track. So what I was trying to say was that once like Boneworks was kind of like the most talked about game that was out there until Saints and Sinners came along. So once Saints and Sinners came along, it was a wrap for Boneworks. You heard nobody's talking about Boneworks anymore. And so in that aspect, I wasn't terribly surprised that it was at the Oculus store for $30. But I was a little bit surprised that it was at the Oculus store, because I was under the impression that it was going to be a Steam exclusive. So, and that kind of gets ready to take me into the next subject. And that is that because Boneworks showed up at the Oculus store, there's no doubt in my mind that if, the PS4 and the PS4 Pro could handle it, we would have seen Boneworks on the current PlayStation VR, and I believe we would see Half-Life Alyx there. But because of the limitations, no. But I do believe when the PS5 comes out, we will see those games on the PS5. A lot of the games that can't make it to the current PSVR now, I think we're going to see them when PS5 comes out. When PS5 comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Pavlov over there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Boneworks, Half-Life Alyx, more racing sims. Because PlayStation VR is definitely lacking when it comes to the racing sims. It's lacking when it comes to the first-person shooters. After Firewall, what do you really got? And it's lacking in multiplayer. All that stuff is on PC VR. More racing sims than you can count. More first-person shooters than you can count in VR. And tons of multiplayer games. So that's why I had believed that once the PS5 comes out, we are going to see a flood of games coming to the PlayStation VR, because you will have a console, in my opinion, that will have the power that will be in the general ballpark of a PC. So because of that, I believe developers won't have to water their games down, and they won't have to, make all kinds of crazy maneuvers to try to account for the move controllers and all that kind of shit. I think they'll just be able to port their games straight over to the PS5 from PC. And because of that, we're going to see a ton of VR games next generation. So, and said next frontier for The Walking Dead is Quest and PSVR. Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what it's going to look like on PlayStation VR, because I think all the assets and that kind of stuff are going to be there. Excuse me. But I'm curious to see how blurry it's going to be. The Quest, I think we know what we're going to get with the Quest. I think the graphics going to be a little bit watered down, but more than anything, a lot of the textures and colors and some of the assets aren't going to be there. But I think they're still going to be able to do an admirable job with with what they're working with. So definitely curious. So now, so again, I think that I think we're going to see on the PS5. I think we're going to see so much stuff from third-party developers on PSVR that Sony's not going to have to pump out a bunch of games, like they tried to this generation. Sony's going to sit back and collect that royalty money. They're going to sit back and get that 30% of all these games that's going to be coming in. And then I think when PS5 hits, we're going to start to see more and more AAA games on VR in general, because via AAA publishers will now have two major revenue streams through PC and through PlayStation VR. So they said PSVR first quarter for The Walking Dead, which means we should be getting a date pretty soon, because the quarter will be up at the end of March. And I think the last thing they want to do is bump heads with Half-Life Alyx. So if they're supposed to be coming out with The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners in the first quarter of 2020, they better hurry up and get that damn game out, and I mean fast, because once Half-Life Alyx comes out, the whole VR world is going to stop. Because that is what everybody's going to be talking about. They either going to, because of the, it's going to be the talk of the town. Everybody's going to be talking about it because it's going to be garbage, or everybody's going to be talking about it because it's a great game. I don't think there's going to be any in between. So if they plan on getting Saints and Sinners out there, they better strike while the iron's still hot, and they better hurry up and get that shit on PlayStation VR. Because there might be, well, let me take that back, because that's going to be two different formats, you know what I mean? Because I think the only people it's really going to affect is people who might have been, that's got a PC and a PlayStation. But damn, but then again, now, you know what? I need to scratch what I just said, because if you got PlayStation VR and you got PC VR, any game that's coming across all platforms, you would want it on PC because it's going to look the best. So, without a doubt, like Star Trek Bridge Crew, what's up, chats? Like Star Trek Bridge Crew, I have it on all three formats, PSVR, Quest, and PC, and it undoubtedly looks best on PC. So I guess I need to take back what I said, because I guess, I don't know, anybody that's waiting for The Walking Dead on PSVR probably doesn't have a PC. So I need to take back what I said right there. So in that aspect, Half-Life Alyx may not affect people who were looking to buy The Walking Dead on PlayStation VR, but the hype would overshadow The Walking Dead, because of how anticipated this game is. So, yeah, you're right. You're right, Cold Yogurt. The Walking Dead is PSVR's Half-Life, because, in my opinion, Saints and Sinners, that might be the only game that's going to come close to knocking Resident Evil off the crown, to taking the title away from the best horror game on PlayStation VR. So if any game has a chance to do it, it's going to be Saints and Sinners. So you're absolutely right there that it is PlayStation VR's Half-Life. So taking us into the next subject, Sony filed a patent for what appears to be a VR controller. Why did I bring this up? Because everybody's like, it's kind of been a little bit of talk about that. It's been a little bit of a buzz about it. And I'm like, what's all the buzz about? Because this is like the third patent that Sony filed for a VR controller. Fourth, if you include the bracelet. Because the first patent they filed, and I was just too lazy to dig up all the damn pictures. Because it was my intentions to dig up the pictures of all these patents and place them up here for you guys to see, but I just didn't feel like doing it. I was just too lazy to go find it. But So the first patent they filed was for a controller that that had a thumbstick at the top. At the top of it, it had a thumbstick surrounded by other buttons, and I guess this controller was supposed to be pressure sensitive. It could detect how hard you're squeezing it. Then they filed a patent for another controller that looked like a Move controller, and instead of having a like a light bulb at the top of it, it had a lighted ring. It had a ring that looked like it's got lights in it. Then they filed a patent for what looks like a bracelet, that goes around your wrist, and this bracelet was supposed to have cameras in them, and that was supposed to be the controllers. So in some sense, that could possibly be Sony's version of hand tracking. So that's 3 patents right there, and then you had this latest patent that was revealed earlier this week. So my point is, I don't get what all the buzz is about this controller, about this latest patent that Sony filed, because they filed about 4 patents on the VR. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because when that AAA studio got shut down a couple of weeks ago, it was a Sony studio or whatever. They got shut down. They had not even produced a single game yet, and they were supposed to be a AAA studio, and they got shut down. That now the naysayers, mostly Xbox, and it's like they brought they fucking toxic shit over to our area. They keep that damn console war between you and the PlayStation people. Don't bring it over here to the VR community. But they brought that shit over here to the VR community because it had the name PlayStation attached to it. So the toxic Xbox, were going off and trying to say that Sony was about to pull the plug on VR because of this studio shutting down. I said that's absolutely ridiculous, because Sony London, the developers of Blood and Truth, are working on another game right now as we speak, I believe. And then these patents that I speak of, although they're patents, and that's that, if Sony is going to pull the plug on VR, why would you continue to file multiple patents for something that you plan on pulling the plug on? Why would you keep filing patents? So to me, that was bullshit. It's like, keep your toxic shit over there. So that was the reason why I wanted to bring this subject up right now, to let these toxic Xbots know that VR is not going anywhere. I think Sony's probably getting ready to double down on VR. So yeah, Shaz, no, Sony's not shutting, Sony's not pulling the plug on VR. They're going to continue to support it. Not only are they going to continue to support VR, but because they're going to give us a console that's powerful enough to be in the ballpark of a PC, even if Sony does not make any exclusives, PlayStation VR is still going to explode, because now you're going to get a lot of those games that were on PC, you're going to see them on a PlayStation. And for those that want to be able to experience VR, when PlayStation VR 2 comes out on the PS5, they are going to be able to have an affordable means to play VR that's comparable to a PC. So you are going to see a ton of games come over that way, even if Sony doesn't make one single game. I know a lot of these developers right now cannot wait till the PS5 comes out so they can hurry up and port their games over there. So no, VR, even if Sony don't make a single game from here on out, VR ain't going nowhere. I think Sony's, in this for the long haul. So I was like, they actually, even though I moved away from this console war shit a while ago, it still made me mad that they came into our territory talking about Sony's going to pull the plug on VR just because one studio's shutting down. So, Chaz, you said more people probably playing PSVR than Xbox. Oh shit! He said it sold more than the Xbox than the One X. You believe? Hey, damn! And you know, and they would have sold way more than the 5 million that they sold if it weren't for three things. Number one, the price. This VR bundle that we're looking at right now with the Move controllers launched at $500, and I'm a firm believer that the peripheral should never cost more than the base. To me, that's the equivalent. I've used this comparison before. You go off and buy a $5,000 car, but the wheels you got on it cost $10,000. That makes no sense. So I felt like that the PSVR should have never cost more than the consoles. The PS4 Pro was $400 and the PS4 Slim was $300. In my opinion, the PlayStation VR with the Move controllers should have launched at $350 or $300 to begin with. That's one factor they didn't sell as many headsets. Number two, the PlayStation 4 launched in November of 2013. PlayStation VR launched in October of 2016, almost 3 years later. And the third and final reason why I think they did not sell more headsets is advertising. I think Sony did a poor job of marketing, the PlayStation VR. Look like shit. Every time I go to YouTube, because YouTube is full of ads. Half the damn ads on YouTube that I see are Oculus ads. And, and I know a lot of it has to do with their algorithm, studying my patterns. It knows that I like to watch a lot of VR videos, so it's showing me the Oculus ones. But if that's the case, how come I'm not seeing a bunch of PlayStation ads on YouTube? They did not market it. I think Sony did a poor job of marketing the PlayStation VR. To me, they only marketed PlayStation VR enough to let you know that it's there. So, Carl, you said I already had the Move controllers from PS3. I did too, because 1 year MLB The Show, they tried to implement, the Move controllers where you could use the Move controllers to actually throw pitches. But it did not work the way they tried to advertise it, Short story long. You right there, Chats, you hit it right on the head. Goddamn Oculus ads all over the damn place, but they don't got none to sell. And then you got people on Amazon and eBay raping people. Cold Yogurt, you said bought nav controller recently for Golem. That thing is cool, $2. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting one of those. But I'm in a situation where I gotta, watch my money because I just, you guys probably, I'm sure you guys heard me talk about it before. I just dropped a ton of money paying off my car last week. VTids, Rift S available in UK. Only problem is it is a Rift S. Yeah, Rift S is good. So this is the Half-Life effect. Everyone needs to get ready. You said nav is $2 or $3. Otherwise, I'd have a Rift S now. Yeah, but even with a lot of these Best Buys not having any Rift S, they're still easier to get than the Quest. Because the last time I went to Best Buy and checked on the Quest and the Rift S, so just to give you an example, if I would have ordered both of those headsets today, the Rift S would have been here in about 4 days, and the Quest would have taken about 10 days. Leaf was good. So, you said you were kind of kidding. Um, Damn it, I lost my train of thought. Forgot what I was going to say. But it's 7 o'clock here. I think I'm going to get ready to wrap it up here pretty soon. And that was pretty much it. They have Rift S online here from BestBuy.com. Okay, yeah. I mean, they if they don't have them in stock, you won't have to wait long to get them if they order them for you. So it's just that Quest is the problem. If you want a Quest, Craigslist is probably a good idea. If you find a Quest on Craigslist, it is either going to be, it's going to be one way or the other. They are either going to be selling that Quest for cheaper than its retail price because they're going to be hard up for money, or they're going to try to pull the eBay shit and try to rape somebody because they know that these things are sold out and hard to get, and therefore they're going to mark it up. Okay, VTiz. No, I mean the Rift S is fine. I just love the CV1 audio so much. It's perfect, really. Okay, I can understand that because the internal headphones on the Rift S isn't that great. But hey, that to me was easily solved with these $10 earbuds that I bought from Walmart. And they sound amazing. He said, No Man's Sky on Rift is incredible. My PC struggles a little, though. Yeah, I did, I know when I was like playing Asgard's Wrath, when I was streaming it, I had to turn the graphics down a little bit because my computer was struggling to handle all that stuff, to try to stream the game as well as run it at, with the graphics setting turned all the way up. So yeah, I get what you mean. The PC struggling to run No Man's Sky. I haven't played No Man's Sky in jeez. I think I only played it a couple of times once it got the VR update, but I knew I wasn't going to be putting a lot of time into that game. It looks good. I just know that because the game has got like generated content. The game is basically never ending. VTiz, what's your CPU and GPU? I've got an Alienware Aurora R8. It is a store-bought PC that I bought from Best Buy. It retailed for $2,000. It has the GPU is an RTX 2070, and the GPU is a i5 90, I think 94 or 9700. Now, the reason why I haven't updated the CPU is because it's still under warranty, and I don't want to do anything that might void the warranty. I don't want to try to replace any parts and it might void the warranty. But I'm still thinking long and hard about it. I'm still thinking about upgrading to a i7 or even an i9. But because after the research that I did, if you're going to game and stream from the same PC, it's got to have at least an i7 in it. VTiz, you said people were saying No Man's Sky would change VR and it's great. But it's funny how quickly people forget about such games once another game comes out. You know why? Because I've said this before too. People can, at least with me, you can live out some of your dreams through VR. And To me, I think the biggest reason why, okay, for instance, take Pavlov for instance. Pavlov might be the first hot game on Steam, right? If another person comes out with another first-person shooter game, it's not going to affect the user base of Pavlov that much, because there is already a ton of first-person shooter games. But if an experience comes out that nobody has done yet, then everybody's gonna, move in that direction. So the biggest reasons why I can't stick to a game in VR is because there's so many different experiences coming out. Today, I'm a race car driver, and I might have that bug for a few days, and then a flight simulator comes out. Oh shit, I've never flown a plane before. I wonder what that would feel like, so let me try to fly a plane. Play that for a few days. Maybe a speedboat game comes out. Oh shit, I've never driven a speedboat before. Let me try that, see how that would feel in VR. Do that for a few days. Then you have a skiing game comes out. Ah shit, I've never skied in my life. Let me try that, see how that would feel. A ski jumping game that came out. Never tried that before. I always watch Olympic ski jumping, but I'm too damn scared to do that shit. And then, so I'm doing all these different experiences, and then when you get educational stuff coming out on VR, that's another thing that'll pull me off of something that that I might be playing. So I might be playing a racing game in VR, and then that Titanic experience comes out, because the Titanic is something that I've been fascinated with. I've heard the conspiracy theories, and I've seen some of the controversy surrounding that ship, and so when the Titanic experience came out, to be able to sit in that rowboat, I was like, it was something that I had to experience. To sit in that rowboat, to be lowered down the side of that ship and see how big that ship really is. And then to see it break apart right in front of your eyes and go under the water, that was something that I had to experience. The Apollo 11, I had to experience that to get to see what it felt like to be in that rocket. And then in only a matter of minutes, you look out that window and see the sun, and then it's pitch black, once you're out in space. So that's why, in my opinion, people forget about games quickly, because of the experiences. Because, with VR, with flat screen games, there's 8 million first-person shooter games out there. So anybody who's playing Call of Duty, another first-person shooter game is not going to pull them off of Call of Duty. But if they're playing Call of Duty and a God of War type game comes out, that might be enough to make them take a break from Call of Duty to come over there to experience that. To me, that's what is going on with VR. Because we don't have 8 trillion first-person shooter games. And then all these games that keep coming out for VR, it's not the same regurgitated shit over and over again. There's new experiences, something that we never seen before. And I think that's why a lot of these games are forgotten. Look how much people was hyped over Aspire 1. Now the game had its problems and shit like that, but even if the game ran perfectly at launch, it would have been forgotten about quick, because I think Pistol Whip came out, and then that was the hot game, and then and then, where are we now? So yeah, Carl, now we're getting these mods all over the place too. Yeah, Carl walking on the moon, and then as part of that Apollo 11 experience, I think I was even I think it was planet Neptune or Uranus, and I'm like, there's no way, this far out in space. I was like, the temperature has got to be maybe in the triple digits below zero. so cold that you would probably freeze up in a couple of minutes. You probably be frozen block solid in a couple of minutes, but still. And then that Apollo 11 experience made me think, okay, I'm walking on the moon. What happens if I can't get that rocket to fire back up and I can't leave? And I'm stuck on the moon. And because the moon basically looks like a giant asteroid covered with dust, what are you going to do for food? So that kind of experience made me think, what if you got stranded on the moon? Shaz, you said so true. I know most of us want to experience everything in VR. That's the best thing about VR. Exactly. I'm living out some of my dreams in VR. I've said this a million times. As a kid, I always wanted to be a race car driver. What are the chances that going to happen to me? Especially at 52 years old, being a blue collar worker. You think somebody going to give me the keys to Lewis Hamilton's Formula One Mercedes and say, here, take it for a little spin? Hell no, that shit's not going to happen. So the best chance I've got to drive Lewis Hamilton's, Formula One Mercedes is through VR. So, again, some of my dreams are coming true through VR. So, and that is the beauty of VR, Shats. You also said I could buy a PC on my Best Buy card, but with the PS5 coming this year, I'm waiting for that. And VTiz, I heard from a friend this week that he found the Knuckles weird compared to the Touch. And VTiz, you said, yeah, I've genuinely learned real life things in VR over the last few years. It's amazing, really. It is. And here's the thing, look. Said, I agree. Walking with a tidal rope or standing on top of a mountain, yeah. Now look, in my opinion, if you absolutely love first-person shooter games, racing games, strategy games, horror games, those categories that I just ran off right there, if you love any of those games, you should absolutely want to play those games in VR, because playing those games in VR is like, playing a first-person shooter game in VR is like playing a first-person shooter game on steroids. It's like with first-person shooter games, everybody, when a new first-person shooter game comes out, like each time Battlefield or each time Call of Duty comes out, they want this game to be more interactive and more immersive than the previous version, because they want the game to be more and more realistic each time. How much more realistic does it get in VR without actually being on a battlefield and getting shot at? So if you actually want to experience what it would be like in, simulation situations, you should absolutely want to play first-person shooters in VR. If you love racing, sim racers, to actually be able to sit inside that car, look around, see the dashboard, all the buttons on the steering wheel, that kind of stuff, look out that window and see that car running right next to you, you should absolutely want to play that game in VR. Horror games. If you like getting the shit scared out of you, it doesn't get any better than VR. Because horror games is where VR really, really shines. Strategy games. To me, it looks like, a board game on a TV screen. But in VR, it's like you right over the top of them looking at whatever it is you're doing with these strategy games. Those are just a few categories, If you like sci-fi games, like where you out in outer space, my God, it doesn't get any more real than VR. The first time I tried Lone Echo and I started floating off in space, it felt like I was going to drift right into the planet Saturn. Because anybody who's even seen Lone Echo, you know wherever you're stationed at a mining facility that's right outside the planet Saturn. You look out and into the void and you see how big the planet Saturn is. Like I was on the transport, on the Fury transport, and I let go. I was supposed to hang on. I let go and started drifting into space, and I actually almost panicked for a second. I think there was a BBS experience or something like that, where you're inside a space station, something's wrong with it, so you got to go out on a spacewalk to fix it. So I'm out there horsing around with my jetpack, blowing the shit all over the place. Well, I ran out of fuel in that jetpack and started drifting off into space. The shit felt real. So it was scary. Oh, VTiz, you said don't forget Lone Echo 2 in March. All I knew was that we were supposed to get we was originally supposed to get Lone Echo 2 by the end of 2019. It didn't happen. Now we got it in 2020. So damn, that really tightens the screws on me with Half-Life Alyx and Lone Echo coming out in March. Shit. Well, it is what it is. I'll be getting them. I'll be getting both of those games. Because to this date, I still think Lone Echo is the best looking VR game that I've ever seen. But I think Half-Life Alyx very well could take the crown of best looking VR game out there. Excuse me. So you say horror works particularly well in VR. I'm not a horror fan, but but in VR it's very real. Hell yeah, it's real. It scared the dog shit out of you. I bought, when the PlayStation VR first launched, I bought it day one, but I brought it home and put it in the closet and hid it and gave it to my son on Christmas. So it sat in my closet for like 2 months waiting for Christmas. And believe me, I really wanted to go in there. I wanted to open that shit up. And I wanted to play it. I wanted to give it to my son early, but I didn't want to ruin the Christmas moment. So I just kept it hidden in the closet. So Christmas, fast forward to Christmas. We're trying all these different things on the PlayStation VR. And then when you had the PlayStation demo disc and you do the Resident Evil part of it, where you're in that, where you tied to that chair, and the assistant that was with you, that crazy chick cut his head off and his head went rolling across the floor, and then like she's just like rubbing all over your face, and then jumped in front of you and came at you with that knife. That shit had me, it had me backing up like that. And then with PlayStation Worlds, the London heist, when that big bald head dude had that blowtorch and he was like real close to you like this and was threatening to blowtorch your ass, that shit had me like pulling back too. So yeah, that was like first time I tried VR. And then I went off and bought the entire Resident Evil game, right, for PlayStation VR, right? And I went inside that house, and when I went into that kitchen, I saw the filthiest shit, that opened up that microwave, and it was a dead, like a dead crow inside that microwave. It was food that had maggots in it and shit like that on the table. You go towards the back door, and it's locked with a cage over the window, so you can't get out. And then there's butchered parts, butchered cows and shit like that, laying in front of the front door. It was just disgusting. That shit was it looked too damn real. So it already had my stomach turning, because I was like, this shit is just despicable in here. Yeah, Carl, that shark cage, that's another thing that had me jumping the first time I tried it. And then I went out on a date one time Um, brought her back, and I said, "Here, I want you to try something." Threw the VR headset on her. She's looking around and shit like that. And then when she saw that shark, she started. You could see her head pulling back because she was starting to get concerned. And then when that shark went up to that cage and ripped that door off, she was like climbing up all on top of the couch and shit like that. That was the funniest thing. I should have recorded that. That was hilarious. So, excuse me. But what time we got? 7:30. I was gonna go to the store, but I don't need to. But I am going to wrap it up here shortly. Cold yogurt still 2080 Ti is crazy expensive. Don't make any sense. PSVR 2 probably can match that. Spartan God, what's up? You got no notification? Yeah, then I guess all I can really tell you, Spartan God, is go back and check my page to make sure you hit the bell notification, because that's happened to me before. Some of the people that I'm sub to, I didn't get notifications for their videos, and then when I went back to their channels, to their pages, I was still subscribed, but the bell icon, it was almost like it was unclicked, like somebody unclicked it. So I had to click the bell icon again so I could get notified. So I think maybe every now and then when YouTube probably runs updates in the background and that kind of shit. So you said it's been hit since 2018? My page? Damn. Well, if that's the case, the bell icon has the two sounds on the side. Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on then. I mean, my content is not inappropriate. Carl, you said you never get notifications until it's too late. I don't know what the deal is with YouTube. I really don't. But I've noticed that a few times. I've had podcasts that lasted a couple of hours, and people didn't start piling in until I've already been on, an hour and a half. Shaz, you said, well, I look forward to seeing all you lucky PC VR bastards streaming Half-Life Alyx. Yeah, you got that right. Spartan Guy, you said it's been a while. So I guess at this point, the only thing I can really tell you, since I don't know what the hell's going on, Spartan God, is to just, I guess just keep your eye out for the Twitter notifications, because I've got my YouTube linked to my Twitter page, so whenever I go live, it'll automatically tweet it out. Oh, you said the like button not being pressed also affects that? I didn't know that. So hit the like button, y'all. But I normally don't, do that stuff, try to press people to hit the like button or whatever, because I like things the way it is. I got a little over 600 subs, but I like it where there's enough people in here that I can carry on a conversation with everybody, but it's not out of control. I can answer everybody. Somebody that's got 500,000 subs, they go live, the comments are going like that. They can't respond to everybody. And I like engaging with, the viewers. So, as crazy as that sounds, I'm fine with my channel being the way it is, because I can engage with everybody. I can have a conversation with everybody. I can answer everybody's questions. Carl, you said I gotta get a PC and a Rift. Probably my next two purchases. Yeah. So, let's see here. VTiz is talking to chat saying there's tons of awesome PSVR exclusives that I'm jealous of. See, me, I don't have to worry about that. Got a Quest, got a Rift S, and got PlayStation VR. So, there isn't a game out there that I don't have access to. Any game that comes out, I have access to it. Oh, Yogurt, you got two PSVRs? Wow. What, one for each eye? One for each ear? So, check a couple of things here. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's about it for me. Been on about an hour and a half. I still got to get a couple of things done. I haven't had my nap yet because I spent like a couple of hours trying to get everything set up for that Walking Dead stream, only for it to go out after a half an hour, after 5 minutes, I mean. You said, hey, I wanted to buy a Quest, but ended up buying my brother a PSVR. I probably would have done the same thing, Shats. If I thought my brother would have been interested in VR, but wasn't in a position to get it, I probably would have helped him before I would have got myself a Quest. No, I know I would have done it. You know, because in the case of Craig Harris, I sent him my old PSVR headset after I bought a new one. In the case of Titanfall Princess, I went to GameStop and bought a refurbished one and sent it to her. So, plus I want to get some more gaming in. Pull out the old strap, and then with this gun stock right here, it has a strap that you put over your shoulder like that, and then you just let it hang to the side like that, and then so you let it hang to your sides, because when you pull the controllers out, when you pull the controllers out and you want to go hands free, you go like that, and then like if you end up getting a hold of that 50 cal with the scope, then again you reach down, put the cup in there, put the cup in there, boom. Yeah. Said I better go. See you later, Lincoln, and everyone. Take care. Hey, VTS, thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. I said okay, Lincoln. That's great, man. Thanks. Yeah, that's my plan. All right. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go tie up a couple of loose ends around here, and then play some VR. That VR is like crack cocaine. I just cannot get enough of it. It's like crack cocaine. So, with that being said, let me see. It's Thursday. I do not know if I'll do live from Wakanda. I make a lot of posts. I guess it simply depends on how I feel. But I think if my son wants to do it, if he ends up liking this gun stock, if he ends up liking this, then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and stream Pavlov and put the webcam on him so you guys can see him use the gun stock, because he's much better at Pavlov than me. So it'd probably be a little more entertaining to watch him use this than me. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and boogie on out of here. I want to thank everybody for popping by. I really appreciate it. And I guess I'll see you guys on my next stream. So everybody, have a good evening. And I will catch y'all later. Deuces.